Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Cup of Joe with Joe and Joe podcast. I am your host, Joe, and with me, as always, is my wonderful co host, Joe.
I love Mondays.
Don't everyone do, though.
Do you like Mondays?
They're alright. I don't have any real hatred for them, I'd say. Like, I'm not someone who's like, oh no, it's Monday, it's the start of the week, everything is awful. Unless I have something on those days that would actually make me hate those days, but it's not because I hate Monday, it's just because I hate that thing.
I think I get that. I actually really like Mondays, like not sarcastically. Like I like Sundays and Mondays. I really like because Sunday is usually a chiller day. You know, you're doing some laundry, you're getting ready for the week or whatever, chilling out, and then Monday you wake up and you're like, fresh start, new week. I got all my stuff set up from yesterday, and I don't know. It's interesting. I like when it's Sunday and I'm looking back and I'm like, damn, I'm like, that Monday feels like years ago, or that Monday was pretty wild. Like, so much can happen in a week span.
The Monday was like 17 years ago, but tomorrow it's another Monday. Let's get
Exactly.
ready. That's how I feel, Joe, honestly, when we do some of these recordings sometimes where it's
Yes,
just
yeah.
like
Yep.
we recorded only a week ago, but it feels like I've gone through a year.
I completely agree with you, Joe. Completely agree.
More evidence as to we are actually just one person. Um, all right, so hello everyone, welcome back. Week 19. We've almost doubled the original output as we were saying beforehand, off the record, but it's baffling to think about that. But so we're here to do this week's movie, which, as we decided with a coin toss last week, lovely 1979 quarter, we watched The Rocketeer. And before I find out you actually watched Palm Springs, you didn't, right?
I did not. I watched The Rocketeer.
Okay, thank God. Um, Good to know. So that's what we're going to be discussing today. And Joe, right off the dome, what did you think of this movie? Given that neither one of us have seen it.
Joe, I wrote down something in my notes that I'm like, okay, I'm definitely gonna say this. I'm like, because, okay, I'm just gonna say it. Joe,
Yes.
this movie is so damn cheesy, but god
Yes.
damn is it some good cheese.
It is some high quality Gouda or cheddar. I don't know. It's like a nice cheese wheel that you can lift up. It's a hefty cheese wheel, I'll say.
Probably like a sharp Parmesan. Parmesan's usually what you find in the wheel, and it's a bit more solid.
Yeah, I'd say a nice wheel of Parmigiano. Um, that's my Italian coming out, Joe. Could you
Yeah,
tell?
The Italian ancestors really disappointed in that one, Joe.
You might have been able to hear the hand gestures going on with that one. Um,
That was good.
yeah, but I would definitely like. I had heard of this movie and I had a general idea of what it was. I didn't know what it would become later on, which this movie has one of the strongest like 0 to 60 throughout the movie that I've seen in a while. Which we'll get into that in a little bit. But the best way I can describe this movie is like if they tried to make Iron Man in like the 60s, and also they were heavily inspired by Indiana Jones.
Yo, okay. Um, I love that. I think that's fantastic.
Thank
Um,
you.
this movie, as well as you, I had no clue. No clue what it was about. Never heard of it. I actually, when I looked, I didn't look it up until I actually sat down to watch it because I wanted to go in completely blind. And then I saw that it was popping up on Disney Plus. I'm like, oh my God, it's a Disney movie? I'm like, what is
Mm.
this? Um, and luckily, the fam got Disney Plus a couple of weeks ago. So Didn't have to pay for it. Woo woo. I probably should have shared that with you. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Do you have Disney
I no
Plus?
no me Familia has Disney
Okay.
Plus. They
Okay.
got it
Whew.
back when my sister was like, "Oh my God, Hamilton's on Disney Plus. We have to see
Yeah, it
Hamilton on Disney
is.
Plus." And I was just like, "Cool." Like I didn't really care when they got it, but then also I saw that Mandalorian was on there, and I was like, "Ooh, I haven't seen that." And my dad was like, "We're only gonna have it for 1 month or whatever." And then we just never canceled it. And now there's Marvel shows, there's the Star Wars shows,
Yep.
there's
Yep.
the Star Wars movies that my dad hasn't seen yet, and he's a fan of all that. So we have it for all of eternity now.
Well, fantastic. But I watched it on that, and I enjoyed it. I really did. There were so many so many moments where I'm like, this movie is wild. I'm like, this is such like it has all the movie tropes. Like it has so many stereotypical things, but at the same time, it's so damn unique.
Yeah, it doesn't reinvent the wheel in any way significantly, which again is totally fine because the stuff that it does use, it uses very well, and it feels. I think it was made in '91, I believe. Was
91.
Yeah,
91.
and it's weird seeing that it was made in the '90s because it distinctly feels like it was made in the same time period that
Yes.
Indiana Jones was made
Thank
in.
you. Thank you, Joe. You were reading my mind or something because yes, like I have a note here. I'm like, okay, I'm like as soon as the movie starts, I'm like, is this the same time period as Indiana Jones? I literally thought that, and then I saw it's like late 30s going into the 40s, and I'm like, okay, I'm like it's like World War II. I'm like that's Indiana Jones time. The aesthetic is great. I love the aesthetic of it, just the way it looks. Um, yeah, obviously, I mean, it really, really reminds you of Indiana Jones. Like they both those movies really get the aesthetic right of that era, and the how should I say this? Oh my goodness, I'm having a brain fart. Oh,
Yes, this is
okay,
this episode's.
but okay, yeah, I got it now. The light bulb has gone off. When I was watching it, I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, it almost seems like it was like it seemed like it was filmed during the time period that it was made, or maybe a little bit later. But like, I'm like, why did this look? I'm like, 91. This was filmed. I'm like, this feels like it was filmed way longer before that.
Yeah, it's got that aesthetic, like the way you describe it. It does have that really nice aesthetic, similar to Indiana Jones. And the best way I can describe it is warm color palette and sweaty actors. Like everyone's got a nice sheen on their face, no matter who you are. Timothy Dalton, the main actor, um, the friggin' old man. I don't know. I'm trying to name him by like
Peeves.
actor name. Yeah, I know he's Peeves in the thing, and Cliff in the is the main character. But I was thinking because I went Timothy Dalton, and I was like, I'm not gonna go Timothy Dalton and then Cliff. But I guess I am because I don't know the actor's actual name. Um, but yeah, it's that distinct look when you watch it and you're like, this makes me feel like I'm watching this sort of thing. And the soundtrack does a great job of making you feel like it's that same kind of sort of time period as well. And something else that I found really interesting about this movie was directed by I believe his name is Joe Johnston or
Yep,
John.
another
Yeah,
fellow Joe.
yeah, another fellow Joe. Praise be. And I'm pretty sure I think he did the first Captain America movie, the first Avenger.
Oh no way.
Yeah, so like, hang on, I can use this Captain America, the first event. I
Use
can
the
use this brick
electric
of
box.
plastic. Exactly. Um, yeah, Joe Johnston was the director of Captain America: The First Avenger, and the first Captain America movie is one of my favorite Marvel movies. Like, I
Yeah.
friggin' love this movie, especially the beginning stuff where like it takes place in World War II. Like, Mr. Johnston, fellow Joe, he must be like a World War II aficionado because he knows his shit with this time period. He is on point with it every single time.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And the fact that you brought up that point and like I'm going through my head like thinking of like what the first Captain America movie looked like and you're exactly right. Such it's the same aesthetic, same time period, but both of them are done great. Like it I don't know. I feel like some people it can be really hit or miss when they do kind of like old war movies. I think you see it more in like Vietnam ones where like they do like the Vietnam movies and it kind of everything looks like props. Like it doesn't look like it was there. Like this movie looks like somebody in 1938 was filming all this stuff just with a really good camera. But like all the town, the cars, the all the props, everything looked so authentic.
It's absolutely everything. The with the leather vest that Cliff wears throughout most
Mm-hmm.
of the thing, the weird doghouse diner thing. I don't understand what that is, or why you can go in through its like eye.
I don't
Uh,
know. I saw that and I'm like, wow. I'm like, that's like the most like old timey America thing. Like, oh, everything's got to have a theme. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just have like local diner. It's like, no, it's got to have like a theme, a mascot or something.
yeah, exactly. Um, and I don't know why, but just in my brain, I also connected it to like Dumb and Dumber because they drive that friggin' van that's also a
Oh my
dog.
God,
I haven't
that's
seen Dumb
actually
and
really
Dumber.
funny.
I
Oh,
don't think I ever
I'm
want
making.
to.
Oh, well, I'm gonna make a mental note of that.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see in a couple episodes if one of the movies you pick is Dumb and Dumber. Um, but I saw those two dogs and or the one dog and I was like, oh, that makes me think of other dog in other movie. Um, but yeah, it's just something funny that I thought that I found like a parallel to another parallel that I kind of found that I think might just be in my head, but I find it really funny because he's worked on both this movie and an MCU movie that has the character with the same first name. Howard Hughes, the guy who makes the jetpack for the rocket or for the Rocketeer, I look at him and all I can see is Howard Stark from
Oh,
First
easily.
Avenger. Yeah,
I see Howard Stark and I see Walt Disney.
yes, like a mixture of the two. You just kind of took them and
Mm-hmm.
you used polymerization.
Oh, yes, yes. I literally was like, I'm like, wow, that actor looks really familiar. I'm like, he kind of reminds me of like Tony Stark's dad.
Exactly.
And
It's
the
so
other
weird.
Joe, is this movie maybe this is something? Nah, we won't save it for the end. But is this movie a superhero movie?
Um, I would say it is. I know it's based. I'm pretty sure the Rocketeer was a comic book.
It was a graphic novel.
Yes. Okay. Uh, I maintain my comic hood street cred. Uh,
He can't maintain any Spanish though. I'll tell you that.
oh, absolutely not. Donde está la biblioteca, por favor. Um, yeah, so it's based off the graphic novel. I would say it's a superhero movie. It has like the same origin tropes, sort of a thing, where it's like guy accidentally acquires new abilities, and these abilities are linked directly to a force that kind of wants it for their own nefarious purpose. Yeah, nefarious purposes. I thought for a second, I'm like, are they nefarious? And then I remembered, oh yeah, they're Nazis. Um,
You jumped.
we'll
You
get.
jumped. No, no, you jumped it. You jumped it. I had a, Joe. I have a note because as soon as it's revealed, I go, of course he's a Nazi. I said it out
Literally,
loud.
of course he's a Nazi.
Look, I'm like, this movie has everything. And as they're going through it, I'm like, oh, the only thing they're missing is the Nazis. And then, boom, I'm like, of course, he's a Nazi. I'm like, why?
Did
Why?
you actually think the only thing they're missing is a Nazi?
Yes, yes. I
Oh my
literally was
god.
like, I'm like, man, I'm like, they got all this World War II stuff. I'm like, all they're missing is really the Nazis, and they got everything. And then she holds up the copy of Mein Kampf, and I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, of course he's a Nazi. Of course.
Just of course you gotta throw it in. It takes place during World War II. I if you don't have Nazis in there, I don't know what you're doing, man. But
Joe, I just want to say real quickly when I actually had to pause and I was laughing so much when all the Nazis jumped out of the bush.
yes, yes,
I was like,
dude,
what? I'm
literally
like, they're in America. They were cheating. Oh
the
my god.
my last note on my page, because this is when I just stopped giving a fuck about taking
Yes,
notes.
yes,
It's
yes.
literally like I have everything written out, just like standard writing, lowercase and uppercase, and like the mixture. Bless me. Um, the last note I have in here is just all caps. Surprise Nazis. I
Yeah,
love it.
my last note is the of course he's a Nazi. Yeah, that's when everything's you're like, okay, you're like, I need to let my hair down. This is wild. Yeah, this movie has everything. It like this is what we're saying. It has all the tropes. It has the great setting, the um, I don't know, guy's trying to make a living for himself. He's got his sweetheart gal. All the older people are depicted as like all the guys are like really not like raunchy, but they're like rude or whatever. Like pretty missy or whatever, and all the ladies are like, oh my goodness, all like prude or whatever, and like it's got all this funny stuff. They talk about Hollywood, like it just has all these tropes, and you would think that you're like, oh, I've seen this all before, but really they make it funny. It's fun. I think it's a funny movie. Um, they make it
Most
still
definitely.
entertaining, and they make it They like it's just that little bit of twist of like the design of the Rocketeer, the idea of oh, it's a jetpack. Like you could have easily used that same framework and changed out the jetpack. You could have made it something else. You could have done something and had a completely different story. And maybe it's better, maybe it's worse than the Rocketeer. But I think the fact that it's like it's the 40s and it's like, "Oh, it's a rocket." Like that just fits the time period so well. Um and I love it. It was so fun to watch. It was so funny. It there's so many things going on too. Like Joe, that the big guy who folds people in half.
Oh, I
What the fuck?
I have no idea, but I just came off of a I rewatched all of Sherlock a couple weeks ago. Like I just went through all four seasons, and in I think it's the first episode, if I remember correctly, there is literally just a massive man who like crushes people's heads with his massive hands. And I when I saw him come into the hospital room, I think this is like the first time you like really see him. I was just like, "Oh my god, it's another big guy who just goes around like crushing people." And it got me thinking, how many people in Hollywood do you think they have on call? Like do you think like, I mean, obviously scout people to look like that. But I'm just curious, like, what do you think the number is of like those types of people that they got, like waiting in the wings?
Ooh, ooh. I mean, they definitely do. There's a list. There's definitely a list out there.
They got a short list.
I bet you there's like 15 to 20 people where we're like, okay, we need big, scary, kind of mysterious dude who uses his hands. Okay, ooh, nah, nah, he didn't work too well last time. Let's call him up. Give him a chance.
Yeah, exactly. They just have like a rotating roster where they give everyone a turn, or it's like all the companies have to let everyone know. They're just like, hey, we got Big Jim for our shoot for the next couple of weeks. So if you need a big character, Big Jim is off the table for right now. Okay, okay, thanks, bye. And so it's like, oh god damn, but Big Jim was like, he really got the heart of my character last time, man. We're gonna have to postpone the shoot, man. We gotta wait those few weeks. Big Jim's gonna really make this movie. Yeah,
Oh
but
my god.
aside from that, like he's a great because he's so big and imposing, and his face. I almost could. I thought his face might have been like part prosthetic, but I'm not sure. Which brings
No.
me,
That's what I
yeah,
wasn't sure either. I'm like, I think he might just look like that.
yeah. Which I don't even. Like, that's just really fucking cool. Like it's just such a unique look. I don't care what that says about what I think. It's just I just think he looks fucking awesome if that's just the way he looks. But that brings me to another thing that I want to talk about in this uh, is like the special effects of this movie. While you can tell they are dated, they are nowhere near as horrendous as I thought they might be for a 90s movie. They're more charming than anything else.
Yes, there's only one scene where I was like, okay, that didn't look good, but it also didn't detract from the movie because it like fit the tone and just it fit in with the rest of the movie. And that was the end when the the jetpack exploded. Um,
Ah, yes, Chekhov's gum.
yeah, yeah. When that exploded, you're like, oh my god, you're like that was bad special effects. But at the same time, you're like, it fit the craziness of the scene.
Yeah, 100%. You got Timothy Dalton going up in a weird blaze of glory, and then I thought the Zeppelin exploding, like that catching fire and then crashing and stuff. I thought that actually looked really good.
Oh yeah.
And then when Timothy Dalton's character crashes into the Hollywood sign, I thought that was pretty good as well. But when he's actually flying and then the jetpack, ignites and everything, that was the one where I was kind of like, yeah, this is because it's like it's an actor's face and you're watching them react and it's like them flying around and the fire and explosion and it's supposed to be in the sky. It's like all those things compounded and you're just sort of like, this isn't really this ain't it, chief, but also it's fine. It's like that's just one smaller piece in a much larger special effects ending that you're already floored by because oh my god, there are so many Nazis in Hollywood.
Oh my god, dude. All right, two things. Two things. First off,
Okay.
female lead. I think I'm in love. Um, Not only is she a pretty good actor, she's nice on the eyes as well. Gorgeous. I don't know who she is. She looks very familiar. Do you know her name?
I did. Hang on, I'm using the brick of plastic in front of me. um I'm gonna see it. I'm gonna be like, oh yes, of course, this person. Screenplay, why does it have? Hang on a second,
Oh no.
Joe. I'm
Oh
looking. You
no.
know how when you Google something and then you look to
Yep.
the right and it says,
Mm-hmm.
Rocketeer, watch now on subscription. You scroll down, release date June 21st, 1991, director Joe Johnson, music composer, screenplay, and then it says big guy. It gives you Ronald Tiny Ron Taylor. It gives you the name of the big guy before it gives you the name of any of the other actors, which glorious. But so cast, Cliff, the Rocketeer main man himself, is played by Billy Campbell. Jennifer Connelly is who you're thinking of that plays Jenny.
Oh yeah. She's awesome. So I just want to get that out there because the world's
I
got to know
love,
that.
yes, I love how she used her feminine wiles to get the better of of. Oh, I have his name in front of me now. Neville Sinclair, as played by Timothy
Oh
Dalton.
my god, the best and worst character in the world.
Yes.
Literally, he's so bad that I love him.
He was so like weird. I kind of liked him in the beginning though because he was really good with the fencing sword thing, and I like he sweeps the rose off of the bruiser or the enforcer or the gangster, whatever the hell.
Gangsta.
Yeah, the gangster guy. He just sweeps it off of his chest, and he's all like, "Haha, I am suave." Um, and I remember in the beginning when I was watching the movie, I was just like, "Why do you want the rocket so bad?" Like I had no idea what his motivations were. And then
Yes,
when
yes, thought the same thing.
yeah, then when the Nazis come around, I'm like, oh, okay, this makes a lot of sense now. Like a good movie should.
Yeah, yeah, I was waiting for that too. I'm like, okay, I'm like, it's not. Is it really that simple? As he just wants a rocket? I'm like, there's got to be something else,
I
um,
just want to fly.
right? I would too. I mean, it seems pretty damn cool. Um, and then the other thing is, this is. I have a hard time believing this is a Disney movie. Do you feel the
Right?
same way?
Yeah, it feels. I don't know what it feels like. Who? I'm not. Oh, Paramount made Indiana Jones, right? That's a Paramount Picture
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
It feels most like Paramount Pictures, which is also funny because I'm pretty sure before Avengers, the Marvel movies were made by Paramount as well. I'm pretty sure Iron Man is a Paramount picture as well. So the two movies that I think would polymerize into this movie are both. So if anything, I think this would have been a Paramount picture film. But yeah, the fact that it's a Disney thing, it's a little weird.
Yeah, especially because like that scene with St. Clair, like when they're in his bedroom, and like I found that whole scene hilarious. oh my God. I'm like, this dude is the biggest creep ever. And I love this girl for going along with it and just like, just freaking using him and then just whacking him in the head. She's like, oh, I finally acted in a scene with St. Clair. I was like, yeah, girl.
Yeah, you did. You fucking bested that. That's what you did. Wham!
It
God, that was
was
so nice.
it was really good. I loved it. I was like, damn. I'm like, she's pretty cool. Um, because she like at first is kind of just the love interest. But she gets a little bit more like they do the stereotypical. Oh, we abducted her. Bring us the jetpack or the girl dies.
So
But
comic book camp.
right, and I don't know. Even like I said, that's another one of the tropes, the stereotypical stuff. But it worked. It really worked.
Yeah, it worked, and I like the way that they allowed her to be more than just another friggin' damsel in distress, which is weird thinking that this was made in the early 90s. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, man, that's like claps for you, man. That was nice. Because honestly, I thought when she got captured, I was like, okay, she's not gonna have anything else to do for the rest of the movie. We're just gonna focus on Peeves and Cliff for the entire thing. But they kept cutting back to her, and I was like, okay, okay. And then she has like all of her scenes where she smacks a Nazi on the head and discovers that he's a Nazi and all that sort of shit. And I just was like, yeah, this is cool. She wasn't completely sidelined for the main hero man to do his thing, and I like that. That was really awesome. Also, the FBI in this movie
Oh my
are
God.
fucking incompetent.
They're the most. I hated them. They're so annoying. So damn annoying. Like, ugh, yeah. That was so, so like they did stereotypical like when like people try and like make fun of like law enforcement or something in movies where it's like tell it to the judge, kid.
Yeah, they did all that stuff. The scene that I am referring to when I wrote down this note is when they get to uh, Cliff and Peeves's house, and the Tiny Ron. I'm just gonna call him Tiny Ron. I fucking love that name. When Tiny Ron is in there, like beating the crap out of them, and then the FBI get there, and they're just like, "Hey, it's the FBI. Open up." And then they just start, or Tiny Ron just starts shooting his dual wield pistols at them, and they're just like, "All right, lost cause, light it up." I'm like, "This is a civilian home in a civilian neighborhood. What the fuck are you doing?"
Oh yeah, I love that. I loved the gangsters in this. I thought actually when like they show up to the diner looking for Cliff, I thought that was actually I really liked that scene. I'm like, whoa, I'm like these guys are acting like gangsters. But the head gangster guy, I love him. I thought he was awesome, and I love at the end when they're like, "Oh, you did you know you're working for a Nazi?" He's like, "A Nazi?" He goes, "I might not make an honest buck, but I ain't working for no Nazi."
I ain't work for no fascist. And I love Tommy guns. I think they are one of the coolest gun designs of all time. And they're just like, I ain't work for no Nazi. And then you have all these pinstripe suit gangsters pointing their Tommy guns at him, and he's holding like the Mauser, which was like the German firearm pistol thing at the time. And I'm just like, these are some good looking guns he got in this movie. Uh, Shout out to the props department for this movie, because pretty much everything from the Rocketeer's helmet to the jetpack design to the planes to the guns, everything in this movie looked great. I don't know if they were exactly spot on. I think they were, but again, I'm not. I'm no Joe Johnston, okay? I'm no World War II aficionado. But they looked great. I was like, these things look incredible.
I agree. And Joe, I wanted to ask, where did you hear this movie? What, like, how, besides the coin flip, how did this get on the list? Like, how did this cross your mind?
Good question. To answer that, I need to fall back into the recesses of my brain. I think I heard about it from probably just it being referenced in other movie reviews. Like it was probably a Jeremy Johns or a Chris Stuckman video where they were talking about something and they referenced it offhand a couple of times. And it was while I was on Disney Plus, I think that I passed and I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, that's a movie on there. And so when I was thinking about movies a couple weeks ago to watch, between all the different things, because I had the three where I had the animated and I had the Palm Springs on this one. Uh, it was just one that I had seen a couple of times, and I was like, yeah, I'll throw that into the ring. Like I was considering that, and then Palm Springs was on Hulu. Um, and I'll tell you real quick the animated film because it's kind of funny. The animated film that I wanted to do was Teen Titans Trouble in Tokyo. Um,
Oh shit.
yeah, you're not gonna like what I have to say next because I rewatched it this week just
Oh
because I was
god.
like, well, we're not doing it now, and we have plans for future stuff. Um, I really loved this movie when I was a kid, Joe, and having rewatched it, it's at highest a C tier thing. It
Oh
is not
god.
good.
Oh god. Joe, this isn't Teen Titans review. Come on, we were so positive, and then we go, no, no, Joe, why'd you gotta
I
throw
know,
this
I know,
in?
I know. But I'm just saying, if anyone was curious as to what the other thing was, because like that is off the table for me now. I'm like, okay, I've rewatched that. Goodbye. I'm just like shoving it out the door.
I might have to
Um,
rewatch that at some point.
yeah, it's not, dude. It's 80 minutes. It's not long.
Yeah,
So
because what? It was a TV movie.
yeah, and you can really tell. There's like four montages, and you can tell because they would have split it up into four sections and like to put commercials in. So it's like, you know, 8 to 10 minutes of actual movie, and then like 3 minutes of montage, and you're just like, this doesn't work well when it's all put together.
Oh my god. Well, Joe, I gotta say, I have I never heard of the Rocketeer. Even when I thought maybe like, oh, when I go to watch it, I'll be like, oh, I've heard of that before. Never heard of it. Never saw what it looked like. Like I was so far into it. Um, so kudos to you for finding something so. Apparently, is it popular? Is this like a popular movie or?
I'm standing up. I'm standing up. Sorry, I was about to scream something, but I don't think it's popular, but I think the people who have seen it love it. Also, the thing I was going to before. I am still the superior Joe. Haha, bow before me. Okay, now we're back.
Well, kudos to you. Like I said, I I got nothing else to say. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Um, Nothing but our ratings. We should do the. We
Yes,
rated
yes.
only yesterday, last week, right? I can't remember. Yes, because I gave it a lower score than uh, Shinkai's feature from They Blue. I remember that. Um, I would give this film a 7 out of 10. A nice solid 7 out of 10.
I gave it a 6.5 out of 10.
Respectable.
Yes, I think we're both on the same mark.
Yeah.
And now that brings us to my movie decision. So, I think I'm on this kick to keep picking movies that we've never seen before.
Yeah, let's keep it rolling.
And from what I know, I don't think you've seen this movie before, but who knows? I could be wrong.
We'll see.
I only know two things about this movie. I know the title,
Hmm.
and then the other thing I know is that um, I heard of this movie from my dad, and my dad told me about this movie like when I was in like high school, and I would get into when I really started getting into watching movies, like watching like Friday night. I don't know if I ever told you this, but Friday nights in high school were always my movie night, and like I would go out and like I'd buy like Pocky and popcorn, and I'd like watch like a movie by myself, and I would always try and like watch something new.
Mm.
Um, and when I was asking for recommendations, and my dad said, "Okay." He like recommended me something. He's like, "All right, but do not ever watch this movie." He goes, "I watched it and it broke me for a week." And I was like,
Oh,
"Whoa." And,
oh
and
no.
this is my dad. Um,
We're gonna have another
so
perfect blue situation on our hands.
I don't think it's that type. I think it's more of an emotional thing.
Okay.
Um, so this movie's called Million Dollar Baby.
I have never heard of this.
I know nothing about it. That's it. So we're watching Million Dollar Baby.
Okay. That interesting. I am excited to see where this leads. As a recommendation from your dad.
A non-recommendation. He
A
said not to
non-recommend.
watch.
Okay, I'm sorry. A non-recommendation from your dad. Yeah, but that sounds like it will be the perfect thing as a cleanser before we lead into what will be coming after that, which I still don't want to announce yet
Okay.
because timing.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you. I am what you call professional YouTuber. Anyway, so with all that shiznit out of the way, watch Rocketeer, people. It's good movie. Get Disney Plus and then watch a bunch of stuff on that. We are not paid by Disney shills, although we would like to be. So with that, I will say I love you. I'll leave you. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, all that beautiful, wonderful stuff, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.